thank you so much for joining in the session today. My name is Greg. I will be leading the session today, which is in collaboration with Abhishek. And we are going to be covering the topic of separation anxiety, right? So before we start off and before Abhishek uh, takes the platform and enlightens us all about separation anxiety related to our pets. A quick fun question for everyone out over here who's joined in. Can any one of y'all, or I think most of y'all, if possible, can y'all relate to a situation where y'all remember when we were small kids and the first time, or when we actually stepped into school, or maybe it was kindergarten, maybe for some it could be the first class, the second class, you know. How many of y'all remember crying on your first day of school? Does anybody have memory of that, or have heard of such a story from their friends or their family members actually telling us that we were the ones, or you were the one who on the first day of school you cried? So anybody with a show of hands, over here you can see to raise your hand with a show of hands. Anybody who's been through that experience when they were as a child, or have heard of that experience of children? All right, Shilpa is there. Right. Sumit, lovely. Muskan. Perfect. Perfect. Great. So just to relate to that, if it happened with you, or have you all have heard of that story of where we stepped into school first time, and maybe we were the ones who were crying, and then it took us a little time, or the child, it takes a little time to adjust and get used to, and obviously those are a couple of things that the child goes through, or we as humans go through, to start adjusting and start making up for things. But that is the part on that is something that is a very small part on separation anxiety on the human level. So I think if we all could relate to that and could understand that part, I think now it sets the tone for us to also understand very small bit of separation anxiety in terms of our pets. Obviously, separation anxiety can be much more wider in terms of humans. I am no expert. But today we've got an expert who can cover that topic in a in a full 360 uh, like degree view, because he himself is a pet parent. He is a amazing trainer. He's worked with a lot of pets, and he comes with that experience to give us all of that knowledge on pets and separation anxiety, and how we can really help our pets to overcome that. So with that, I would like Abhishek to take the session ahead. If you all have any questions, and also of this session, because we also have an exciting coupon from HUFT, who is also our treat sponsor. So thank you so much for joining in. Abhishek, this is over to you. And yeah.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Greg, for having me. Thank you, Dave, for having me. Uh, so I see a lot of people joining in on the session. So I'm assuming that these guys are having a lot of issues with their dogs on the term separation anxiety. So if you can just move the slide, we can go one forward. I'm audible, right? Can you guys just give me a thumbs up
Yes.
if I'm audible? Okay, great. Thank you. So yeah, so what exactly is separation anxiety? So what we have to understand from this is, like, there are two different words: separation and anxiety. So separation basically means that the dog is getting separated from someone, or Like, let's say, for example, if I am getting separated from my mother and I have to travel, so that basically means separation, that okay, I am going away. Okay. Anxiety, what exactly does anxiety mean? That okay, I've left, now I don't know what to do, like, how will I live in that world? I'm getting anxiety by that. My mother is not there, my father is not there, I'm living alone in a new city. That is what is called anxiety. So the broad term separation anxiety basically means that someone getting anxious of being separated from someone. Okay, it can be anyone. Yeah, so we can move forward. Greg, can we move forward, please? Thank you. So firstly, the problems that people face, the first very common thing that we have observed in households is the dog is following around all the time, be it like you go from one room to your other room, you go to your restroom, you go to the living room, you try to go outside, the dog tries to follow you, and the dog is constantly, like at the back, always following you, always following the footsteps. It's like, that the dog is becoming your tail, you know so that is the first common basic problem that people face: dog following around. Then the dog has issues like house soiling. Basically, house soiling means that the dog is, because of anxiety, of course, the dog is peeing everywhere, the dog is pooping everywhere, and that is basically helping him coping up with that. You know, because a lot of people, this is also something that I've observed in a lot of people as well, that when they are anxious. So, for example, like uh, if a person is anxious of giving his or her board exams, so he would always, like, most of the time, because I have seen those people, like I have been around those, like, friends of mine who would go to use the loo all the time because they were anxious of, like, scoring good marks and all of that. So that is also one way of dogs coping up mechanism, that, like, they soil the house. Cries in house when left alone, that is again, there is their way of communication. The dog is crying, the dog is howling, the dog is barking non-stop. So that is also one challenge that a lot of people face. Okay. And it becomes a problem as well for neighbors also. Okay, because now, because you have left, you are not facing that problem. So the dog is barking, that the dog is howling, that the dog is crying, but there will be a lot of complaints on your name, from your neighbors and all. So that's one thing. Destructive behavior. So out of anxiety, the dog can start resorting to destructive behavior. The dog can start destroying things. The dog can start chewing onto your furniture. The dog can start ripping apart your bed sheets and all, or ripping apart your couches, your sofas, your chair, your anything, your books. It can be anything. So the dog does that destructive behavior. Self-harming behavior. The dog also does a self-harming behavior, in which the dog basically inflicts pain or inflicts harm on its own. Okay. So the dog can probably chew on its own tail, the dog can probably chew on its paws, the dog can probably lick on his pads, dog pads. Okay, all of that. So that is also one thing that dogs do pick up. Tries to escape when left alone. There have been incidents in which the dog tries to escape the house and try to find the owner. Okay, so that is also very risky, because the dog will not know where to go, because the dogs are living in our world. So it can be a very difficult thing to do, okay, when the dog is trying to leave the house and trying to reconcile with the owner. Sorry guys, I'm a little unwell today. Please cope up with me. Pacing and panting. Because the dog is under extreme stress, the dog is under extreme anxiety, there will be a lot of pacing basically means that the dog is just circling around the whole house. And panting, because the dog is anxious, body temperature has risen, just to regulate that temperature, the dog will be panting. So these are the problems that people face with their dogs when the dog has separation anxiety. Okay. Greg, can we please move on to the next slide? Greg, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can we please?
I've already
Yeah, thank you. So what exactly is separation anxiety? Separation anxiety is a panic attack due to anxiety and fear of being alone. Okay, this is basically a panic attack that, okay, I'm unable to cope up with what has been done. What has been done just now. The owners have left. I've been left alone. Are they coming back? Are they not coming back? What has happened? Okay, am I left alone to die now? So all those factors are coming in. All those thought processes are coming in the dog's mind. So that is basically a panic attack due to anxiety and fear of being left alone. That is what is called separation anxiety. This is the true meaning of separation anxiety. Okay, this is like a panic attack due to anxiety and fear. Can we move on to the next slide, please?
Yep, I've moved on. Just before we go on to the next slide, any of y'all, if y'all have any questions that are coming to your mind, instantly, please use the chat section, put it down there. We will definitely, try to pick them up. Perfect. Yeah. Abhishek, you can continue.
Yeah. So now, the causes of separation anxiety, like what causes it? Okay. Like how do we build separation anxiety in dogs? So firstly, young puppy not taught to be alone. So when we get a new puppy home, what we do is, because out of love, because out of affection, because out of excitement, what we do is we let the puppy follow us all around. That the dog is following us. The dog is like if I'm climbing up the stairs, the dog is allowed to climb up the stairs, and then the dog goes. Then let's say if I go to the balcony, the dog follows me. If I go to the restroom, the dog tries to follow me, and we never stop the dog from following us. So that is what causes it. Okay, that is what causes separation anxiety issues, because the dog has not been taught to live alone or to be alone. Traumatic experience when left alone. So this again is a very common phenomena in which basically when the dog was left alone, when the puppy was left alone, something happened in that particular moment that the dog associated that fear that, okay, when I was alone, that is when this thing happened. So now I'll be scared of being alone. So now, for example, if I leave the dog in the room, for example, okay, and there's a socket, the dog tries to probably explore it and tries to lick it, and due to that he gets a shock. So then the dog can associate that shock that, okay, when I was alone, that's when I got this shock, so now I'll try not to stay alone. So that is how traumatic experience can also cause separation anxiety in dogs. Puppies taken away too young from the mother. So generally a puppy that is bought from a breeder, or that is that is someone like that we get from adoption centers. If the puppy is around 1 month old, 30 days, 40 days, and basically the mother dog has not taught the puppy that it's okay to be alone, that is also one reason that separation anxiety occurs, basically. Okay. So it's very important that we choose the right breeder, we choose the right adoption center, we choose the right. Sorry. So we'll just answer the questions post the presentation. You just keep on writing all the questions and everything, whatever doubts you have in the chat box. Okay. So puppies taken away too young from the mother. Okay. So this is something that we have discussed. Then comes your new home. So new home is basically when the puppy comes to a new home, new setting, new surrounding, new environment. That is also something that causes separation anxiety, because now the dog doesn't know that, okay, what I need to do, what do I do, what am I supposed to do. So might as well just stick to the owner, because he's gonna guide me. Then illness. If the puppy develops some sort of illness, so for example, like it's very common that puppies develop parvo issues or distemper issues, then it's natural for us as well as owners to give them comfort, and it's completely fine. I'm not saying anything wrong about it. Okay, I'm not uh, saying, I'm not judging anyone for this. It's very obvious, it's very natural that if the puppy is ill, if the puppy is not well, I am bound to give attention, I am bound to give him comfort in that time. Okay, but what happens is, because the puppy was young, because the puppy was ill, we gave him constant attention, we gave him 24/7 attention. The dog did not learn to be alone. So that's going to cause separation anxiety as well. Single pup. If the dog, like if the mother dog has given birth to only one puppy in the litter, okay, only one puppy, then mother dog will not be able to leave the puppy behind a lot, because if it's a litter of like 2 dogs minimum, or like 7 8 dogs or 10 dogs, then the mother dog can leave the puppy alone all the time. Okay, because they can just coexist with each other and play with each other and spend time with each other. But if the litter is only of a one single pup, then chances are that the mother dog will not leave the puppy that frequently. So that also can be a reason to have separation anxiety in the puppy. Rescue dogs. So rescue dogs are someone like who we have rescued from someone, or who have gotten through like a lot of adoptions. So now let's say, for example, if I get a puppy from somewhere, or if I get a dog from somewhere, I'm not able to cope up with that dog's behavior, I'll give up the dog. Then some other family takes the dog. Then that family also was not able to cope up with the dog's energy levels. Then that dog also is being given away. Then third time, then fourth time. So in this, what is happening is the dog doesn't know, okay, like like why am I being left again and again, again and again. So then the dog starts developing separation anxiety issues again as well. Okay, because now the dog doesn't know that, okay, how to live alone, and then I'm being left alone so many times that, okay, I'll just stick to the owner, I'll just stick to the like my caregiver. So that is also one reason where separation anxiety issues come up. Okay, Greg, can we please move on to the next slide? Before that, anyone has any question particular to that slide? If anyone wants to have wants to know anything. Okay, so Sumit and Rohit, let's end the presentation first. I'm pretty sure that quite a few answers will be there. Once we finish the presentations, you will get a lot of solutions to it, to your behavior problems. And so now we're going to be discussing about prevention and managing, how to prevent separation anxiety and how to manage separation anxiety issues. So first and foremost, mental exercise and enrichment. That's very important. Okay. So we have to give them some sort of mental exercise, some sort of enrichment, some sort of stimulation to the puppy. Because if you are not channelizing the dog's energy in the right way, then chances are, because the dog is not being tired, the dog is not being exercised enough, the dog is full of pent up energy, the dog will develop separation anxiety because the dog doesn't have anything to do. So it's very important to give them adequate amount of exercise, be it physical, be it mental. Give them a task, something to do. Okay, so give them a task. So it can be like stay in the crate, or it can be like a place command, it can be like a go to bed command, it can be any command. Teach them some commands, basically giving them a task to do, that okay, this is something that you're supposed to follow. Give them something to work on, something, a basic purpose of life for the dog, like, okay, that you're just not roaming around, there's no, like, you have a purpose in your life, you have some direction. I'll give you that guidance. So give them a task, that's very important. Chew toys, you can give them some sort of chew toys. It can be yakis, it can be frozen Kong toys, it can be your dehydrated bones, it can be your frozen fruits as well. All those things you can give to your puppy. And then, like, food based activities. So finding hidden treats in food. So for example, I use a lot of DIY tools. So like a coconut shell, I'll put some food in it and give it to the dog, and the dog is busy in that. In a plastic bottle, I put some food in it and give it to the dog. In a Kong toy, I put some food and I give it to the dog. In a towel, I just fold down the towel and then the dog can just rip it apart. So these are like simple things that you can do. Just ensure that whatever new you are trying with your dog, okay, like let's say for example, if you are trying plastic bottle for the first time, you are there to supervise, okay, you are there to help out the dog, because I don't want the dog to ingest anything. So that's why it's very important to keep the dog under check, to keep the dog under supervision, so that if the dog is not able to figure it out, we can help him. If the dog by mistake ingests it, then we are able to take relevant action at that point of time. That's very important. Frozen treats we have discussed. Calming music, a lot of time calming music does help. So what I've observed in my experience, dogs associate music as something that calms them down, especially the choice of songs that probably would calm me down would calm my dog down as well. So my there's one friend of mine who owns a Labrador. So he gets uh, he gets very calm listening to rock music. So her dog also her dog also starts resting the moment those rock music is played. Okay, so calming music also does help.
So,
Greg, can you please?
okay, sorry. Yeah. Before we move on, I think there's some questions that related to the previous slide, so we'll just address those because I think the first two questions that came in from Sumandat and Rohit, those I'm sure we can answer on a broader level, and I'm sure you'll cover that in the presentation going ahead. But Samish has this, that does leaving in boarding also increase anxiety? How to train for that? Coming from the point of multiple books.
Samish, I'm gonna answer it in a very simple way. Boarding, if you're boarding your dog, okay, it's very important to do some sort of trial boarding. If you call a boarding center that okay, I want to board my dog for these many days, and this is time. The boarding center says that okay, come and like we'll take your dog for 10 days or 12 days. There's no way I'm putting my dog in that boarding center. Okay, because I don't know how the boarding works in that situation. I don't know their safety protocols. I don't know how will they be able to cope up with that like 10 days, 12 days without knowing my dog. So for those things, what I suggest is that there has to be some sort of protocol. So my protocol, I also do home boarding now. My protocol is that first there has to be a day trial in which the dog is coming in the morning and then leaving in the evening. Okay, the dog has to be fed before dropping the dog. Okay, before the drop off, the dog has to be fed, because by mistake, if the dog is uncomfortable in a new setting, if the dog is not eating, I don't want the dog to have digestion issues or gastric issues. So that's why first trial would be a day trial. Second trial would be an overnight trial in which the dog comes, stays overnight with us. Okay, and then we assess the dog, and then depending upon that, I'll also be able to understand the dog's overall behavior, and the dog also gets the sense that okay, when I come to this house or when I come to this place, I always go back. Okay, I always go back to my owner's house. My owners come back and pick me up. Yeah, first it happened, okay, I got left for like 7 8 hours or 5 6 hours. Okay, and then my owners came. Then there was an overnight, I stayed over here, I slept during the night, but then in the morning my owners came. So then the dog has that sense that okay, whenever I come to this place, then the owner will always come back and pick me up. That is first. Second is, I suggest that once in a month or twice in a month, start leaving your dog for at least a couple of days in those boardings. Okay, so that the dog understands, gets the hang of it, so that the dog is not stressed when you have to leave him for let's say 5 6 days or 8 10 days, because then the dog knows that okay, whenever I come to this house, I'll always go back. So then the dog starts associating that. So that is something that I recommend for boardings. I hope Samish, I hope I've answered your question. Ishita, okay, so Ishita asks, can you suggest some such products like you've mentioned first, mental stimulation? Okay, so this is something that we discussed in the previous slide. So anything, it can be your DIY tools, and it can be some products that you can get from pet stores. So from pet stores, you can get like Nino Autoson toys, puzzle toys, and you can get Kong toys, you can get Snuffle mat, you can get Licky mats. All those are mental stimulation. DIY tools, I use coconut shell. I use just scattering the food on my terrace. I use like putting a carton and putting some newspapers in it, and then just tossing some food in it. That is also one way to activate the nose sense of the dog. So those are the exercises that I do with my puppies, okay, or with my dogs. I mean, I have a habit of saying puppies to every dog. Sorry for that. So yeah, that is what I use with my dog. So those are the exercises that you can do. So in DIY, you can use coconut shell, you can use a newspaper, you can just scatter the food around. You can probably like toss it in a cloth or anything, and then like fold it down or tie it down, and the dog just rips it apart. That sort of activates the nose, and that sort of activates the scavenging instinct of the dog. So those are the exercises that you can do with your dog. So I think Ishita and Antara, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Antara. Uh, I hope I've answered your questions, because these are like same questions only on mental stimulation. Uh, okay, so Ishita asks, isn't plastic harmful? So, as I said previously, whatever new you are trying, it can be anything. Whatever new you are trying, just ensure that it's under supervision. As I said, I don't want the dog to ingest anything. So it's important that whatever new you are introducing to the dog, okay, keep it under supervision so that the dog doesn't ingest it and the dog is not able to like hurt himself from it. Samish, got it. Thanks. So we should increase slowly. Pet sitters is preferred, but does not always work, and we want to train our puppy for being comfortable with boarding too, in case a trustworthy pet sitter is not available. Definitely, I would recommend that training, leaving the puppy alone, having the puppy with minimal issues or no issues. It starts at home. Like you will have to invest time, you will have to give them time, and it will always, like you will only reap the benefits of it. So yeah, that's yeah. Pet sitters can work, but again, the anxiety is with you, not with the pet sitter. So you'll have to work on the anxiety issue. I hope I've answered your questions. Greg, can we please move to the next slide?
Sure, sure.
Okay, so now building a routine. Dogs love being in a routine. Dogs love being in a structure. Dogs love that predictability that, okay, this is my walk time. This is my play time. This is my feeding time. This is my training time. This is my play time. All those times, okay, dogs love predictability that, okay, 7 in the morning I go for my walk, 7:30 I come back, 7:45 I get to play with my owner, 7:55 the play session ends, 8:15 the training starts, by 8:30 I get my meal, and then post 8:30 I'm supposed to sleep. So it's very important to build a routine for your dog, okay. Create and follow a routine. Start giving time offs to your dog while you are at home. Start slow and start short. So once the dog is exercised enough, okay, once you have taken your dog to your to the walk, second, you have played with your dog, third, you have trained with your dog, fourth, you have given food to the dog. So now the dog's physical exercise, mental exercise, food, everything is covered, everything is sorted, okay. The dog is exercised, the dog is fed. Now the dog doesn't need anything from you. Now the dog should be resting. So when the dog is sleeping, start leaving the dog alone for some time. So basically what needs to be done is, now let's say for example, if the dog is in the room and you fed him in the room, what you do is you just get out of the room. Do not let the dog follow you. Okay. So initially what will happen is the moment you open the door, the dog will probably try to rush out of the door. Just push him back with your legs or with your hand. Go back. The dog will probably be a little uncertain that okay, what has happened, but just go out, spend like 5-10 seconds outside, come back, sit on the bed again, and that's it. Do not interact with the dog. Interaction time, it had to be like it was done during walks, it was done during playtime, it was done during training time, it was done during feeding time. Now there's no need to interact with your dog. You have given quality. I don't want you to focus on quantity, that okay, I have to focus on my dog, I have to talk to my dog 24/7. No, don't do that. Just quality time. That's what matters. Okay. Even if you are giving your dog half an hour throughout the day, that's more than enough for your dog. Just ensure that that half an hour is only for the dog. No phones, no screen time, no interaction with any other person. That specific half an hour is dedicated to your dog and dog only. Okay. So that is how you start setting up a routine for your dog. Start giving them time offs. That's very important. Does anybody have any question regarding that? Time offs, what exactly does time off mean? Otherwise, we'll discuss the next slide.
Actually, I have a question, Abhishek. Since we had mentioned, I don't know if this might just click for somebody else also. But for example, if the dog is fed and it's tired and it's exercised and everything and all, and it's sleeping, right? Now, when it's sleeping and I leave the room and he doesn't follow, for example, uh, what my belief is that if he's not seen me being present in the room and I'm leaving or something, then how does that still train, the dog? Because maybe I step out for an hour or 2 hours and he's just sleeping away. And then when I come back, he does not realize, how long he's been sleeping for. Maybe I don't know that. I don't know his understanding. But when I come back, then definitely he gets up and he looks at me. So that might just give him a notion that maybe I just left for just a minute or so. So from that perspective, how do I? Because I'm able to do it for my pet, of giving him the routine, tiring him out and everything. But when I have to step out when he's sleeping and I come back, I don't know, somehow that's not working for me. So is there something else or something that I'm missing doing here?
No, I mean, like if the puppy is sleeping, if the dog is sleeping for the 2 hours that, as you're saying, then I'm pretty sure that the dog doesn't have separation anxiety issues. Separation anxiety issues would come up the moment you get up from your bed. The dog will notice it. Okay, that is separation anxiety. If the dog is chill, if the dog is just sleeping in the corner, seeing you walking around, seeing you leaving the room, then that is not separation anxiety. Okay, na? So yeah.
Oh no, but the thing is that when I'm leaving for work, one is that when I'm leaving for work and everything, he's gone to sleep and everything. But then my parents say that the moment he gets up and I'm not there, then it starts. So
Okay. Basically, he's in his deep sleep, and once you leave, once he finds out that you are not there, then he gets anxious. Okay.
and
So
this
in
is
this
after
situation,
following
what
this
I recommend.
entire situation that you told me, na, of routine, exercise, food, all of this is followed, and then he gets
Okay.
up and
So
he's
what
like,
I'll recommend in this situation is when you have your day off, okay, start this drill at that time. So now we know the trigger point that okay, when the dog is not, when you are not there and the dog wakes up, that is when the dog starts getting anxious. So now we know that during those office days, you will not be able to work on it. So rather than that, what I would focus on is when I have my day off. Now, let's say, for example, tomorrow is your day off, for example. Okay. You do the same drill as you were doing during your office days. It's just that Now, let's say, for example, if the dog wakes up at like in an hour, what I will do is at around 50th minute or at around 45th minute, I'll go in the room and I'll just sit. That's it. I'll not interact with the dog. I'll not talk to the dog or anything. The moment the dog wakes up, I'll not interact with the dog. I'll just tell him that, okay, you woke up, you saw me, but still I'm not interacting with you. You can just go and sleep. It's okay. That is how you can work on it for now. That is the first step that I'll recommend for now.
Right, right. Okay, it makes sense. Makes sense. Just replicate that whole thing, but you should understand that, maybe I'm not gone. I'm still there, but
Yes.
I need to keep it on a low or a chill because he's there. He's not gone away.
Yes.
Right. All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay, but I think
yeah. So Antara has one question. Yeah, I hope Antara or Antara, we are pronouncing your name correctly. I mean, I'm really sorry if you're pronouncing it wrong. Greg is pronouncing it as Antara. I'm pronouncing it as Antara. So we are really sorry if we I'm pretty sure one of us is pronouncing it wrong. So I'm really sorry for that. So
my life, so it's all good.
sorry.
I've heard both the pronunciations throughout my life, so it's all good.
Okay. But can we please have your
like
what's your pronunciation?
It's Antara.
Okay, so I was correct. Okay. Okay. So Antara has a question. Will the puppy be destructive if we leave them alone in the room? 2-month-old. We got her 1 week back. She likes to grab towels, slippers, mats, and anything at her floor level, even in front of us, under absence of attention. Okay, so I would definitely not recommend leaving the puppy alone in the room. Room is too big of a space for the puppy, for such a young puppy. He's just 2 months old. Okay, his exposure has just started. He would want to sniff everything. He would want to grab everything. He would want to chew onto everything because he's exploring that. Crate would be beneficial for him, or keeping him with the leash on with yourself would be really beneficial for him. Again, try not to leave the puppy alone for more than half an hour. Okay, and that too when it's a sleeping time. Would not recommend when the dog is active and then you're just locking him in the room because some other person or some maid or some house help has come to your house. Now you're just using control and management, because then the puppy will destroy things, and God forbid if he choose something harmful. There was a time when because of my mistake, of course, my puppy, he was approximately 3 months old at that time. I left him alone, and I had planned, like, I knew that I was leaving him alone, but it's just that I got a call from someone and I got busy with that and I forgot that I have left my dog alone. So I came back like around like 45th minute or 50th minute. So I saw my dog chewing onto my earphones. Okay. Thankfully, nothing happened, but things could have been worse. So I would definitely not recommend leaving your puppy alone for more than half an hour, and that too when it's the sleeping time. Crate would really benefit your puppy for now, because till the time the dog doesn't know the whole house's routine and everything, till the time he doesn't know what are his house rules, where is he allowed, where is he not allowed, is he allowed in the kitchen, is he not allowed, what exactly would you want from your puppy, till the time that is not worked upon, I would not recommend giving him access to the whole house. Okay, or access to the room as well, for that matter. I would definitely not recommend that. It's too risky for now. She likes to grab towels and all. So firstly, I'd be more interested in like, is she grabbing it out of wanting to explore it, or because of lack of exercise? Because I'm assuming, because it's a 2-month-old puppy, the puppy is not fully vaccinated, and by 1 week the puppy has already gotten the sense of your whole house. Now the puppy is getting bored, so that way the dog is trying to just grab onto anything and everything. anything, because it's like it's a lot of pent up energy over here. So it could be either of the two. So you'll have to figure out like which is it. Okay.
Okay, so she usually grabs it while playing. I mean, she'll be playing with us and then she'll run and then she'll grab it and then she'll try to see if we are reacting. We correct her at the time that she is grabbing it and then we tell her no and in a different voice than we use to
Hmm.
play with her. And she usually drops it, but I think it's because she's very young. And I just wanted to know that it's normal for her to do that and it's totally okay
Yes, it's very
because she
normal.
is getting playtime. We do play with her because she's a Pomerian and she's quite small.
Okay.
So we play 15 minutes, give her a break, and then again play again for
Okay.
15 minutes throughout the day. So maybe she gets about an hour of exercise, but throughout the day.
Okay. 15 minutes would be a little too much for the puppy right now. I would recommend
Okay.
to end it at around 7th or 8th minute, not more than that.
Okay. Okay.
Let's not exhaust the dog so that the dog doesn't enjoy the session.
Okay.
Always keep the excitement factor high in the dog, in the puppy. So now let's say, for example, if the puppy gets exhausted by 10th minute, I would want to end it at around 8th minute so that the excitement remains for the next session. Otherwise, what happens is that puppy gets exhausted that, okay, my owner played with me for 10 minutes, uh, uh, this and that. And then the next day, the dog comes, then the dog will remember the previous day that, okay, my owner played for 10, 11 minutes yesterday. I got super exhausted. I'll just try for 5, 6 minutes, not more than that. And then I'll just, like go and just rest. I would not want to play with my owner. So always keep that excitement factor high. Always end the session before the dog wants it to end. Always end it before. Okay.
Got it. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for answering all my questions.
Most welcome. Okay. So now let's come back on the slide. Gradual desensitization. So first, start by desensitizing to departure cues. So what exactly is a departure cue? Okay. Very basic example I'll take. Now let's say, for example, I have to leave for work at around 9, and my puppy, I live alone, and my dog has separation anxiety. So now my dog will try to understand the cues that, okay, he's getting ready. So first cue would be, I'll be wearing formals. If I'm home, then I'm wearing casual clothes. But if I have to go to office, I'll have to wear a formal shirt. I'll have to wear formal pants. I'll have to put on some cologne and everything. Okay. So all those, like wearing pants, wearing shirt, wearing a watch, all those things are basically departure cues for the dog. The dog is understanding that, okay, he's wearing pants. That means that, okay, he is planning to leave me. Had he been wearing shorts, had he been wearing lower pajamas, t-shirts, then he would have been here only. But now he's wearing pants, he's wearing trousers, he's wearing chinos, he's wearing shirt. Now he's planning to go. Then I'll pick up the car keys. That is one departure cue that, okay, he has picked up the car keys. Now, okay, he's leaving me. Okay, he has opened the door. He has opened the main door. Now, okay, that means he's leaving me. Otherwise, he just generally relaxes on the couch. So those are the departure cues. So what we do is we start desensitization process of these departure cues. We'll have to figure out what are his anxiety points. So first anxiety point would be like when I put on my trousers. So what I will do is I'll just put on the trouser and I'll sit with the dog. Simple. Then I'll put on a formal shirt, but then again I'll sit with the dog. Okay. Just as we were discussing about Greg's issue. Okay. When it's your day off, do this exercise on that day. You just wear the same attire that you were wearing during your office days and just come and sit with your dog, relax. No interaction needed. You can just chill, you can just relax with the dog. The dog is sitting nicely on your side. You are also watching TV, you're doing your own thing, and the dog is just relaxing. So those can be your thing. Then what you do is you pick up the car keys, you put it on the side. That is again desensitization. We did not go out. The owner did not go out after picking up the car keys. The owner just sat here. So that is how we gradually desensitize the dog to departure cues. Second point, start by leaving the dog for short period. So this again we discussed earlier. Started very slow. So for example, now if the dog is uncomfortable at around 5th minute, I'll end it, like I'll come back at around 3rd minute. If the dog is getting uncomfortable around 3rd minute, I'll come back around first minute itself. So you'll have to understand basically, what exactly is the threshold of the puppy, or what exactly is the threshold of the dog. Keep the dog below that threshold. That's very important. Yeah, can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so before crate, Samesh has question. For how long can dogs stay alone? We have left our 5-month-old puppy for 2-3 years. 2-3 hours for 4-5 times, but is there any recommendation? Okay, so I generally recommend to keep the pet inside the crate for not more than 6 to 7 hours. But I have trained dogs to stay in the crate for 14 hours as well. So it depends on your lifestyle. If you can give your puppy breaks after 5-6 hours, you can do that, preferably do that. But you can train your dog to be inside the crate for more than 10 hours as well. That is also possible. Okay, Samish, I hope I've answered your question. Diksha has a question. My dog's
follow up.
Oh, okay.
There's a follow up.
He's not, sorry, I missed that. Okay. So he's not created except for sleep, but left open in living room and our bedroom. Okay. So, okay. So he's not, I'll just combine the two questions. For how long can dogs stay alone? We have left our 5-month-old puppy for 2-3 hours for 4-5 times, but is there any recommendation? He's not created except for sleep, but left open in the living. Okay, so again, as I said earlier, I think that was Antara's question. If puppy can be left alone, because this also is a puppy only. It's a 5-month-old puppy. I would not recommend leaving him alone unsupervised. If you are leaving him alone, definitely keep him inside the crate, or definitely keep him inside the playpen. Okay. Yes, Antara, there is an alternative. You can use playpen, or you can use tethering as well. Tethering also is one option that you can use. So yeah, Samish, you shouldn't be leaving your dog alone for like 2-3 hours for now. Definitely keep him under supervision, because it's a puppy. I don't want any injury to the puppy, or any side like any sort of problem to the puppy, because it's a puppy. The moment the moment the puppy wakes up, he would want to explore new stuff. Okay, so that's why I do not recommend till about 8-month-old. Okay, I do not personally recommend that puppy should be left alone, in the sense that basically there has to be some sort of supervision, or there has to be some sort of tool that that okay, the puppy is safe. So with that, like tethering, crate training, playpen training, all these trainings come into play. Or having cameras in the room, that is also one thing that you can look at. Diksha, my dog starts barking immediately when I leave. He is 9 months old. Okay. So firstly, we'll have to understand why the dog is barking. Is it frustration based, or is it separation anxiety based? Okay. If it's separation anxiety based, then notice the triggers. Again, as I said earlier, notice the departure cues. That's very important. Like, what are his departure cues? When does he start barking? Before that, what is happening? All those situations. And then a lot of time what happens is the dog randomly picks this behavior up as well. So I'll have to understand, like, if it's separation anxiety, or if it's frustration, or if it's just random behavior that the dog has picked up. Because now he's a 9-month-old dog. I'm sure that there has been there is a pattern behind it, because it's not a puppy anymore. Okay, he's into his adolescent stage, and in adolescent stage, that is where the puppy becomes bratty. The dog becomes bratty. The dog thinks that, okay, I know everything, I'm an adult, and the dog starts choosing its own behaviors. The dog starts taking decision on its own. Okay, so it's an adolescent stage. It's a very delicate stage. So we'll have to like dig deeper than just the dog is barking. We'll have to understand: is it frustration? Is it separation anxiety? Is it random behavior being picked up, or is he trying to just communicate something? It can be anything. So we'll have to dig deeper than that. Okay.
On this, I had a follow up, like just to understand, like you said that you have to understand what is the behavior, whether it's separation anxiety or it's something else. Uh, for a pet parent to identify this, does type of bark matter?
Definitely it does.
Because to add to that, my pet, when it's separation anxiety, and why I know it's separation anxiety is because he does a slightly higher pitched bark, like a puppy, but when it's somebody coming to the door, a stranger or something, or a normal bark of the dog, that's obviously different. So that got me to identify. So is there something that all the pet parents who've joined over here could identify whether this is?
See, the puppy starts barking, the puppy starts pacing around. So all these cues, like all these like behaviors will simultaneously keep on coming up. Like the dog will be running around, the dog will be barking with a whine in the back, at the back. There will be a little bit of whining at the back. That okay, bow, bow, woo, bow, 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 woo, something like that. Okay. So that is separation anxiety. Frustration would be wah, 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 looking around everywhere, just keep on barking, 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 barking. So every bark is different.
Okay. So then maybe Diksha, if that helps, I don't know for you to, if that helps at initial things, maybe you can check that out for you to understand, like Abhishek was recommending, for you to understand why is the barking happening.
Yeah. Okay. So should we move forward? Yeah. Great. Great. Okay. So now create a safe place. Great. Again, a very misunderstood thing. People think it's a cage. People think it's a jail. People think it's like horrific to keep your dog in that cage or in that jail, or like how will my puppy survive. Trust me, I have used crate with my dogs. Trust me, I have used crate with multiple dog owners. The moment we have introduced crate, the puppy is more happy and content. Crate is like a personal room for the dog. Crate is like a personal space for the dog. Okay. Oh, okay, great. So Mansi has commented that Vio, again, like I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Vio has anxiety and Crate has worked wonders. It's his safe place, I'm assuming. So yeah, Crate is a safe spot for dogs. Basically, we use it for dogs that have separation anxiety issues. We use it for dogs that has fear-based reactivity or fear issues. We have used it with dogs who have bitten people, like level 3, level 4 type of bites. Okay, that's like a control and management tool. So Crate has its own benefits. So first and foremost, it's very important to choose the right size. Okay. So for example, if I'm choosing too big of a crate for a Shih Tzu, the puppy can start peeing inside the crate itself because it's too big for him. A German Shepherd will not be able to fit in a small crate. So it's very important to choose the right size. Introduce the crate gradually. That's also very important. We have to introduce the crate gradually. Okay. associate crate with positive experiences. It's very important to associate the crate with positive experiences, okay, rather than just pushing the dog inside the crate, or rather than a lot of time what happens is someone comes and then we just put the dog inside the crate. So this looks like a punishment to the dog. So then the dog has negative experiences with the crate. So rather than that, start feeding your dog inside the crate. Start giving him water inside the crate. Start giving him his chew toys inside the crate. Start giving his playtime around the crate. Give him attention inside the crate. Like when he goes inside the crate, only then you pat him. Okay. Start associating crate as something that, okay, this is your best spot. This is your best place. If you go there, everything that happens will be for you. Okay. Establish a routine with the crate. So routine, as I said earlier, routine is very important. The moment that so we take the dog out of the crate, we take him out for a walk, we train him, we play with him, we feed him, and then last portion of the meal is given inside the crate. We lock the crate, and dog goes and sleeps inside the crate. Avoid crate as a punishment. That is something that we just discussed. Ignore whining or barking behavior. A lot of time, what happens is when the dog is whining or when the dog is barking, we look at the dog and we say, like, what's wrong with you? What happened? No, this, that. Then the dog starts barking again and again in a higher tone, in a higher pitch. So what is the dog understanding? That, okay, if I'm barking, that's when the owner is interacting with me. Okay. So that is something that should not be happening.
We're getting some really good questions here
Yeah,
regarding
sorry.
this. No worries, no worries. You can. I
So
think we can
see,
pick them up also.
I was unable to write see the last 2 points. So be patient and consistent. That's very important. You have to be patient with your dogs. Do not expect results in a jiffy. Okay. Seek professional help and guidance. So crate training is complicated. If it's if it's an adult dog, you will not be able to associate the crate positively. Then the dog will not go inside the crate at all. Okay. So it's very important to understand that if you're not able to train your dog, then it has to be under a professional, okay, that can give you advice. Okay, so now we have some questions. Seema Sagar has question. Can you suggest some uh, good crate brands? Okay. I personally prefer M-Pets. M-Pets is a good brand. Then I vouch for Petarki. Petarki is a wonderful brand for crates. I vouch for Perfect Dog Cages, that is based out of Chennai, but they deliver pan India. So these are the three brands that I generally trust. Okay. So these are the three brands that you can also have a look at. Mansi has a question: how big should be the crate according to the dog? How much extra space should be there? Able to stand fully or turn around? Both, actually. The dog should be able to stand fully inside the crate, and the dog should be able to turn around. Okay, both. So yeah, does it make sense to introduce a crate to a 2.5-year-old retriever? Definitely, for sure. It's going to take some time because first we'll have to undo the previous behavior, then only we'll be able to inculcate new behavior. But we can introduce the crate to a 2.5-year-old retriever. Okay. We'll have to understand, like, what is his daily routine like, what is his daily structure like, how can we implement the crate into that. Okay. So that is, again, like, we can introduce crate to the dog, but it definitely will take some time. If as compared to a puppy, it will, like, let's say for example, if it's a puppy, it will probably take, like, for example, again, 4 sessions. Then with a 2.5-year-old dog, it might, minimum, I'm saying minimum, it might take 20 sessions to train the dog for crate. The I plan to relocate the pup with me, so crate training will help, right? Okay, yes, for sure. I mean, I plan to relocate the pup with me. So where is the puppy right now? I'd be more interested in that. Okay. Okay, and where are you based out of right now? And where are you relocating? Okay, so you're shifting to US. Yeah, definitely the crate would really benefit him. And then if you're shifting to a new house, then start like straight away start with the crate training, because the moment the dog goes into the new house, new structure, new routine, crate training would be far much easier for you if you train the dog for the crate in a new space. Okay, Shilpa, I'll just write down the brand names for you. Just give me a minute. Yes, so I've written down the brand names. Okay, so can we move on to the next slide now, or do you guys have any more question?
I think Antara has raised her hand. She has a question. Antara, please go ahead.
Okay, I won't take a long time. I just wanted to know that when you start crate training, or for example, you suggested playpen, right? So it'll be inside the house, and I am, for example, training my puppy to uh, go to the washroom, and I'm pee training my puppy to go to the washroom. So if we do that along with the crate, will the puppy get confused? Where should they go, in the crate or to the washroom?
Can you say that again? Can you just elaborate a bit?
Sure. So, for example, I'm training my puppy to pee in the washroom because it's an apartment, and I cannot always take my puppy downstairs or outside to relieve itself. So we are potty training and pee training our puppy to go to the washroom. But
Okay.
if we also start crate training or playpen training at the same time, the puppy is going to relieve itself in the crate or in the playpen as well. Will they get confused where they should relieve themselves at the end of the day? I mean, will they think that they need to go in the crate only if we do that?
Okay. So the standard rule for a crate or for a playpen, not for a playpen but for the crate, is the dog should be relieving himself before going inside the crate. And the moment we take the dog out of the crate, the dog should be immediately taken to the pee spot and poop spot. So what I'll recommend in this is, like, when the puppy is sleeping inside the playpen area, okay, the moment the dog wakes up, the moment the puppy wakes up, you immediately pick the dog up, take him to the restroom, let him relieve himself. Okay.
Ah,
And then,
okay, got it.
yes. And that is what you follow. So generally, puppy pees and poops after waking up, after having their meals, and after or during their playtime. So immediately, like after having their meal, immediately the moment the puppy wakes up, you immediately pick him up and take him to the pee spot. Keep him there for 10-15 minutes and then put him back in the playpen. So that's what you do.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Abhishek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shilpa has a question. I have 11-month indie mixed girl adopted when she was 5 months with many issues. Separation anxiety, fear of sudden loud noise, aggressive behavior many times. Will creating help? It will for sure help. Uh, can you just answer a few questions? The if is the dog spayed, and aggressive behavior? What do you mean by aggressive behavior? Like, and where is the aggression coming from? In the sense that is she reacting to people, or is she reacting to dogs, or is she reacting to sounds? What is this fear of? Like aggressive behavior. You writing it down, Shilpa? Because thank you so much, Antara. And I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so I'm assuming that's a plus.
Can you hear me, Abhishek?
Yes, I can.
So aggressive, she started aggressive behavior during her first heat cycle. She's not spayed yet.
Okay.
So she had a very early heat cycle at 6 months. So
Okay.
she started showing aggression towards sleeping time. If we are trying to be near her bed, and she tried to attack my mom also.
Oh, okay, okay. For first thing, never disturb a sleeping dog. We never disturb a sleeping dog, especially an indie. Trust me, I've had a case in which the dog ripped apart the owner's nose. Like this whole nose came off. If you can see me in the camera, okay, this whole nose came off. Now the dog, now the owner needs like reconstructive surgery, and
No,
she's
we're
already.
not disturbing her as such. She's lying down on her bed, which is in my room. And if my room door is open, she will, see my mom run out of my room, and then, try to kind of,
Okay, so
show
the
aggression.
dog has false confidence. The dog has false confidence. I would definitely recommend crate training for this one. Otherwise, the dog can bite, and the dog will bite in next 6 months. So
And
just to create that safe space.
lately, if I'm trying to remove stuff from her, mouth, if she's chewing on something which is not okay,
Hmm?
she's taken a pen or she's taken something, which can harm her, then
Hmm.
she's showing a lot of aggression. And if I'm trying to, पानी में जैसे बैठ रही है, she gets sick, when she's wet.
Hmm.
If I tried to move her from there, she was very aggressive. This is like a week back.
Hmm. Shilpa, this needs professional help. Honestly, I mean, the dog has multiple issues, but definitely crate would help her a lot. Like a lot. I cannot even emphasize a lot in this. Like crate would really benefit her and you as well. So definitely, like whosoever, like if you plan to take professional help, do tell him that do tell him or her that you want the dog to be crate trained. That's really gonna help you out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's showing, बहुत कहाँ तो separation anxiety है. She's very fearful, but extreme behavior.
Indies do have that because indies come with a mixed gene pool. I mean, like there's no one specific trait of an indie. And indies will come up with random behaviors. All of a sudden they develop some sort of fear. All of a sudden they start getting dominating. All of a sudden they will develop some sort of like random issue, reactivity, separation anxiety, resource guarding issue, and then it keeps on coming up because indies have a mixed gene pool. Okay, so there's no specific this thing.
Okay, I think
Like faltu.
I'll connect with you on a personal level, because right now we are digressing from the
Sure. No worries.
yeah.
You can connect with me anytime you want. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Ishita has a question. Do you suggest getting a dog bed for pups even in summers, considering they need a safe space? Generally, you can keep one mat. Generally, puppies do not prefer sleeping on beds. Like in my experience, again, generally puppies or dogs do not prefer sleeping on beds during summers. And at the moment, it's peak summers for the next 3 months. Okay, May, June, and July. It's going to be peak summers for us. If you belong to Delhi, of course. Okay, so they generally prefer sleeping on like cooler surfaces like marble, tiles, and all of that. So you can keep a mat just in case, but it's not really necessary. Greg, can we please move on to the next slide? I think
Sure.
that's all about it in our front.
I think that's it. We're in the Q&A session now.
So yeah, I mean, like if anyone has any questions, doubts, we can discuss all of that.
Right. I just want to quickly add on your point, only Abhishek, of crate training regarding Shilpa. And, we're talking about indies. I myself being an indie pet parent, I think, yes, crate training really, really works wonders. I'm how I associate it is that obviously I don't have a crate for my pet, but there's a bed. There's a spot that I've made for him. It's more of the room concept that you said. This is your room or this is your area where you're supposed to stay. So Shilpa, like you talked about the night, if somebody was passing and your pet, got a little aggressive on that stance. Something that I also faced, and if they have this spot, and I also have selected a spot in such a way that it's also comfortable, but yet it's away from our our path of either using the restroom or going to the next room or the staircase or something, so that they're not coming in the way. And that really, really helped, because in the night, then that's their spot and that's their place to stay. So, but yeah, I think that really, really helps in terms of the pet to associate a spot or a space for themselves. Shilpa, I think what we can do is post this call, we can definitely share the details with you as well about Abhishek, and anybody else, whoever wants to connect with Abhishek, they all can reach out to us and we can definitely make the connect happen.
Okay, so we have one last question from Samish. Can you suggest some resource for DIY enrichment activities which are safe when leaving dog alone? So it should not be, I mean, like you should not be giving any sort of toys or anything when you're leaving out of the, like you're leaving the house. It should be like when the puppy is in the room and you're in some other house, you're in some other room, and still, yeah, you're keeping a supervision on the puppy, like here and there, just walking in the room, here and there, just observing what is he doing, and all of that. Okay, so never give the dog anything when you are leaving your house. And resource, you can search any, like like on YouTube you will find a lot of DIY activities. I have already given like some sort of suggestions, like coconut shell or scatter feeding or snuffle mat or licky mat or puzzle games or like coconut shell, plastic bottles, socks, clothes, anything. So you can do any sort of exercise. Okay.
I think, Abhishek, the very first initial questions that came in when we started the session, there is Sumit and Rohit. Sumit's question is, my dog sits outside the bathroom and whines. So maybe you want to suggest a routine for him, like you had suggested for me. What should he do for that? Or yeah, over to you for this.
Okay, my dog sits outside the bathroom and whines. Again, like firstly, we'll have to understand why the dog is whining. In this, what I will, again, like I will need more details on this for sure. But what you can do is just try to assess that, okay, why the dog is whining. Is it separation anxiety or is it attention seeking behavior? So those are the things that we'll have to figure out. And then what you can do is when you go inside the bathroom, close the door, come back again, sit in the room. Close the door, come back again, sit in the room. Just do this like 7-8 repetitions in the day, and just keep on following this for next 10-12 days. That's what you do for now. And again, it's a very like generic solution that I'm giving you, because I would need a lot of other details for this one. Rohit has a question: how to stop my dog from barking when I leave home? My neighbors complain every day and they think that he's injured or something. Also, how can I monitor my pet when I leave alone?
I think the first part, I think you pretty much answered during I think I had the same thing, just that the neighbors part is a little hilarious here. But I think the second question is there of how do I monitor my pet when I leave home? Maybe, I don't know, Rohit, you stay alone or something?
Yeah, I mean, like you can put a CCTV camera. I mean, like a lot of trainers also use that. Just some sort of a CCTV camera you can put in your room, and you can just keep an eye on your pet. Or if you're home, then you can uh, just keep on walking here and there in the room where the puppy is alone, and that is also something that you can do. Like whenever you have your off or anything, you can do that as well.
Perfect. I think Seema Sagar has a question. It's a new
Last
one.
question: how long the crate training will take? In months or days? It totally depends on the dog, the breed, the dog, the age of the dog. It will depend on multiple factors. I'll not be able to give you an answer for this. Some dogs take to the crate immediately, some dogs take time. So it totally depends on dog to dog.
Right. Perfect. So I think, I think we can wrap up the session. We've gotten a lot of questions that had come in. I hope we were able to answer these questions. If there are any other questions that you all have or come across again, we are happy to answer them through Abhishek. You all can always connect with us, and we can have those have that connect happen. Thank you, Ishita. Thank you. I think we all love the session. It was a very interactive session in terms of separation anxiety. Just before you all leave, I am just sending a message on the chat. This is the coupon from HUFT, who is our sponsor for some of the goodies for our pets. So I request you all to hop onto the website, apply the coupon code, and get your pets some good, nice goodies as well and treats. So yeah, with that, we wrap up the session. We look forward to many more sessions covering different topics, and we hope to solve the issue of separation anxiety and practice the exercises that Abhishek has suggested.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Greg. Thank you,
Perfect.
everyone.
Thank you
It was a
so
very
much.
interactive session. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.